Good, Josh? Your boy P.O. back with another one, man. And today, as y'all can see, we got a change of scenery, but I just felt like sitting in my bed today, so that's what we doing. We gonna watch this video called Prison Fights Joel Blazer. Do all that good stuff, like, comment, sub. Let's get into it.
The last time I ever talked about this was inside of a crack house. It was like some toxic way to fucking release it. That was 22 years ago.
You never talk about this
I guess
stuff.
he was an inmate or something.
No. We're rolling?
I'm rolling.
Yeah, so like what? Life is like a downward escalator, and if you stand still, that motherfucker will drag you down. And prison's like
It's great.
super speed.
He literally dressed like Mr. Clean on purpose. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny.
It's funny. That's a great analogy.
No, I never talked about the fights. And there were 3 very significant fights, and there was an incident in Marion, and I wasn't a fighter when I was young, and I mean, these were probably the most violent things that I've ever been involved in my life that happened to me or that I had to do to somebody else.
Hold on, what'd you do?
But the thing is, when you fight in prison,
Okay, he was an inmate.
there's no rules. There's no ref. There's no tap out. There's nowhere to run. Like, screaming's not going to help you. And
Okay.
two of the fights, there's little tidbits in the book. And then when I got inspired and I called you, I thought back like 2001, 2002, right before I got sober the first time. I would go to these crack houses, and one day I started smoking crack, and something was on the TV, and I started to tell a story of the fight. And so, like, it was, I was a binging drinker, occasional crack house, but then those last 2 years, it was probably 15, 20 episodes. And then sometimes I'd go to the crack house and I'd be like, that's the dude who's got
Make sure you like this video if you enjoy.
the prison stories. And we don't know if it's true, but he can really tell a story. But like in some demonic, fucked up, toxic way, it just helped me to get it out. I've never told these stories to anyone. So there's 3 I want to go through, and I'll give a little background. But let's just jump in it. So the first one was at the county jail. Got found guilty. Never been in trouble, 23 years old. Lost my jury trial, facing 40 years.
40 for what?
Was there for about 3 weeks. My cellie was Ezekiel. This is all part to do with the fight. The corroborating evidence, and he came in with 3 co-defendants, and he was like a big time dope dealer that got pulled over with a U-Haul truck with a bunch of cash and marijuana residue. Now you develop
I hope there's no buzzing noise right now.
relationship with your cellie. You get very intimate, not sexually, but it's just like, he's sort of a father figure. And after the fight happened, I found out like they wanted to plead guilty and he wanted to go to trial. And so there's Francesco.
Hold up. Let me try and see if I can hear the buzzing noise right now. Okay, we good. My fault, y'all. My fault, no more pausing.
Mario and Antonio and Ezekiel, who was my cellie. So one day we're just sitting there eating. There's 4 white guys in the cell. There's Carlos, a couple pimps, bank robbers, home invasions. It's just because it's the county jail, you mixed in. And everything's metal. There's like a picnic table. It's just solid metal. Everything's cement with metal edges. It's just hard. There's nothing soft in this pod. And I'm just sitting at the picnic table. I don't know.
Why not,
It was
though?
close to lockdown for the night. And Mario is probably 8 or 10 years my elder. He just kind of like he's shadow boxing with me, and I'm sitting on the bench. And then he swings at me and I kind of duck. And then everybody in the room just circle, right? But they're all against the wall. And it's like, so he, he's making a move. So I jump off the bench. I'm 23.
Was he being serious?
I did an inventory, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. Never, ever in a fight that I can remember. My dad would always say, if somebody messes with you, you just punch them right between the eyes as hard as you can. It'll blind them and then go at them. And that in 4th or 5th grade, I was on a bus. I'm pretty introverted. And this guy was just kind of throwing his book bag at me and just making fun of me. And then, I didn't have any sugar. I wasn't hyper. And so I was just very not reacting. And then all of a sudden I got on top of him and I just pounded him till everybody on the bus had to stop me. But he attacked me and I resisted for a while. So I am not a fighter. Not in me to be.
Try to mess with the quiet kid, boy.
Be a fighter. So I jump up from the bench. Maybe I was in there for 2 or 3 weeks. I'd lost my trial. I'm facing 40 years. We're fighting sentencing. So there's, this is in the back of my head because sentencing was coming, but we kept challenging the way that they figured out my sentence.
And this wasn't at Marion. This was at
the county jail.
County jail.
Right when I got arrested.
In what state?
Covington, Kentucky.
Right around the corner.
So he threw a couple more punches. Now I hadn't lifted weights at this point.
Okay.
I was pretty physically fit just from school, but I was just a 150-pound, 23-year-old, long-haired, smooth skin, no tattoos, just fresh off the street, lost the trial. And,
what did he do? He probably set up in his
So a couple more ducks. And then I hit him 3 times super hard. It's everything I had. And I grabbed him around the neck.
But I thought they were shadow boxing. How did it turn into a real fight?
And there was the corner to the room, and I shoved him up to the corner, and I just, all my strength, with my knees straight, my back flexed, and everything I had, and I was just crushing his throat. His nose was broken, bent, still bent to this day. And then I sort of woke up. My hands were full of his blood, and I could feel all the weight of his body. And then I just let go, and he fell to the floor. Francesco and Antonio came and picked him up and got him going again and put him in the cell. Ezekiel said something in Spanish. Now he's my cellie. We've communicated a lot. He's sort of a father figure to me. He's facing a bunch of time. He knows that I'm facing a bunch of time. I took my case to trial. So later that night, when we're in the cell, he says, "God damn it, man, why didn't you fucking finish him? You should have fucking killed him. Fuck him." And then he told me the rest of the stuff about his case, and it's just holy shit. And then he said, "If you want to help me," he's like, "I'll have $100,000 in cash dropped off at any house you say." He's like, "But I just want you to help me with the case. They want to plead guilty." So all this happened
to the bottom
that night. And so we lived together in that unit for 3 or 4 more months. They cleaned his nose up, but it was bent. The next day we squashed it. There was enough mixture of people where it wasn't like it was all Mexicans or all blacks or all whites. So it was and so just a weird situation. Okay, so then I went to Sandstone. Nothing happened. I went to Inglewood. Nothing happened. Then I went to Florence, Colorado, the medium, not the 80X. This is a place where the whites controlled the yard. It was a very good time. A lot of weed. Guards were pretty lax. It just was a good place to do time. And this is just going to sound like such fucked up politics, but it was you're there. I had a really big workout partner, 2 really big workout partners. Hoghead was sort of a shot caller. I was just a soldier. I wasn't in a gang, but if something went down, I didn't have any say-so. So and again, this is going to just sound so petty, but it's like when you're in Rome, you do like the Romans. The law is the law. I can't change the convict code. So there was a dude talking to me. There's a bunch of dudes up on the tier all the way around. And we're just Friday night conversation. And he said some really degrading things about one of the white shark colors on the compound. And I think he was trying to goad me into it. I mean, I don't know the whole story, but he said it and he kept saying it. And then people heard
What color was this gentleman?
above. And so it turned into this thing where I had to vouch of, did he really say that?
What color was this gentleman?
Because these other people said it. So, and if he did say that, since he said it to me, even though it was about these guys, I had to settle it with him. So the next morning, two guys from another unit that weren't even in that living unit show up with a shank, big long shank.
Whoa.
It was the
Whoa.
office chairs that have show up with a shank, big long
What type of
shank. It was the office chairs that have those things. You know, they made the office chairs in the BOP Bureau of the
ones with the little
Unicorn
circles
shop
around them where you put your feet
for
on
all
while
the
you
other
spin it.
prisons. Like each one had their own thing. So like sharp as a motherfucker. Like, and so so I have 151 months still. What the options are, you can check into the hole. Now you're marked.
150 months. Oh my gosh.
You still
Free
could get killed in
you.
the hole. But then everywhere you go, you're going to be in protective custody. You're in PC. And so that's an option. But I mean, I took my case to trial. It's like, but you can't tell these guys no that showed up. Two big, huge dudes were in my fucking unit as the doors cracked. Like, so they must have known the cops. He's like, here's the shank. This is what you got to do. This guy's going to be the lookout. This is the guard that's on tonight in the unit. And we would want you to do it at whatever it was, 9 o'clock count. I mean, this is insane. So,
Why do they need him to do it, though?
and at this point, not to be braggadocious, I didn't know how strong I was, but I was really fucking strong. At that yard, I could deadlift 405 pounds, 10 for cold, just at night. There was an outside
Dang,
weightlifting
boy.
competition. I benched 305. I squatted 455 in the bucket, and I deadlifted 515 with outside judges, 190 pounds. I mean, it's a cock-strong motherfucker, but I was walking the line, right? I mean, I didn't know how strong I was. My workout partners could like bench what I could squat. I mean, they were fucking huge.
Dang.
So
So he was
I
working out with
lure
people
him
way bigger than him.
to the laundry room. And I'm like, all right, I just got to knock him out, and I got to hit him a couple times. And I'm like, in my head, you learn all the spots, but I'm like, I'm going to just get him in the side and then get out of there. Fuck. So when the count happens, if you're in the laundry room, you stay there in the unit because each unit has its own laundry room. And the lookout's outside, and so like
I've never seen that
either
water
you're
before.
gonna check into the hole or you're gonna do it. There's no middle ground. So we're in the laundry room.
Is that a glass
I get
bottle?
him in there. I got the shank, and just like Mario, three, really quick. It was like a fucking movie or something. And I pull the shank out. I'm like, fuck. And the guy who's watching opens the door. He's like, the guard's counting. Wait. So he's laying on the floor. The guard comes into the unit, comes into the door, comes into the laundry room. He's just about staggering up. He looks at him. He points at him. He points at me. And he's like, you guys have to take care of this tomorrow. You cannot finish this tonight.
Wow.
He didn't know. I hid the shank. But now he saw both our faces, and the guy watching saw it. So he's like, okay. So then he continues to count, and the guy's like, go to your room. He's like, you get down there, cover your face. So I'm like, okay. So then in the morning,
They had connections with the cops in this prison. Like it's a movie for real or
All
something.
night I am icing. I'm icing because they, in case he goes to the hole because he's so fucked up from the shots. So
Wow.
we get released for chow. The word, you can't do it. It's got to be where obviously they don't want me to get in trouble. So the door's open. I go to chow. They grab him. He doesn't tell on anyone. They check everybody's knuckles in the unit after chow. Nobody had anything. The shank's already hidden back. So like that was an unbelievable thing because that's a new crime. And if I did kill him, I probably would never get out. You'd get a life sentence.
Yeah, it's over with. You got lucky.
So there's that, right? And I had nothing. He said something disrespectful about a boss, so-called. And then like I was the one because he was the reason why it all came down to because he was denying that he had said it. And everybody on the tier said that he.
My fault, y'all. Somebody just gave me some pizza. Shout out to my dog. Shout out to my dog. Get back to the video though. Hold on.
He said it, but it was like just because I was there. I had nothing to do with it. So the next place, this gets really intricate. Pekin, Illinois. Now I left Florence to be closer to home, but I should have never left there. An old-time convict said you should stay in this prison because you're doing excellent time. There's an even mix. There was a little more whites, but there was a perfect mix of races where there was no tension. The drugs were flowing. Like if you were gonna do time, that was a good place to do time.
Did I go back on accident?
So I go to this next yard. This place was crazy. It was a newer prison. There were a lot of gangs vying for power. And I met this guy, and he had 15 years, and he wanted some heroin.
Heroin?
So I got 350 papers of China white heroin for him.
He had connections
during
like
move.
that, bro?
For some reason. I don't know why.
Boy, hot.
He's like, I'll have all the commissary, but just bring it. But something in the back of my head, and I think it was my dad, a guardian angel, the whole time I was in prison. I left it in the unit because I'm figuring, okay, I'll just get the commissary and then I'll come back. Because it's like we're in the same place. The units are so close. The next move is an hour. So I go to the unit.
It was a setup.
And he's like, I don't have the commissary.
Oh, no.
I'm like, it's commissary night. You got to get it. He's like, well, I don't have it. He's like, come back next move. So now if something happens, I know that he's a rat. So I go back to the unit. It's inside a pair of shorts jammed way in the corner, but it's in a common place in the cell, and it's a trick that maybe you can use. So it's just a random pair of shorts that me or my cellie didn't buy on commissary. Someone could open your door to the cell because it's not locked down and just throw something in there. So technically it's a public space. So I get back to the unit, they grab me and my cellie, they strip search us right in front of the doors.
Wow.
In front of everybody. Spread the cheeks, everything. They're
Wow.
like, all right. And then there's four guards go into my cell, our cell. And then one stands in front, and we go into the TV room. And he says, listen, he's like, don't take it, don't take it. He's like, we'll both deny it. I said, dude, you're going to go to the hole for 6 months. I'm like, I'll just take it. It's my shit. He's like, listen, it's in a pair of shorts. It's in the common area. He's like, I'm not going to say anything. You don't say anything. So we would go to the hole under investigation. Because like if it was inside my locker and it was locked, that would be mine.
W.E.
But while I'm in the TV room, there's probably 40, 50 guys in a TV room where there's normally 10 or 20. And there's tension. There's a lot of heroin on the yard. There's the Mexican mafia. There's just all these groups trying to get control, right? And then there were a couple people that got thrown in the hole under investigation. And sometimes people might even tell and set themselves up to make it look like they got busted so that they go to the hole as like a mild way of checking in, right? So there's all sorts of these crazy moves, right? But obviously this motherfucker told on me. While I'm in the TV room, a guy from another faction had a lot of time. It was some bullshit over wanting to be my cellie. So his cellie told him a story about me that I wasn't, because we were going to switch cells to switch cellies because this room was closer to the area where they're making hooch or something. Some bullshit where Johnny wanted to switch to come into my room and me go to the other one. But his cellie, who I knew, told him a story. Because in the back of his head, he figured if the guy comes and fights me, we'll both go to the hole, and then he'll have the cell to himself.
This guy was really thinking, yo. How did he get in jail?
Bullshit. So while we're all in the room, the big windows, we're watching. I'm sitting on a stool, and he comes up to me and he starts telling me like Gary, what Gary said, and the same thing like with Mario. Like this, and then pretty soon he takes a swing and I duck and I just instantly react and I hit him 3 times and I just grab him by the neck and I squeeze as hard as I can and he's down on the ground. This motherfucker was going out. And then the next thing I remember, like, there's 3 guys that got my legs and they're grabbing me and like I just won't release his throat. And then finally another dude just jumps into my arms and then they grab him, back us up, and they're like, but they're still
really
searching my cell for the heroin.
Bro, like, what is that?
All this shit's happening. They stand him up. They're like, we gotta stop. You know, this will get settled tomorrow. And so then I'm like, gotta calm down. And they get done searching everything. They come to the unit and they say, I can't remember my cellie's name, but they bring us back to the cell. They're like, you're good. Wow. But when we go in, like every tube of toothpaste is cut open, the pillows are ripped open. I mean, everything is fucking torn apart. There's more to when this guy comes back too. And then I'm shaking because I'm like, where did it go? Where did it go? All the shorts, the pants, everything's pulled inside out. And then they say, yeah. Then they said, no, you have 2 hours to piss. You got to report to the lieutenant's office because obviously they're going to piss me because this guy said I'm selling heroin. I might be doing it. Okay. So I grab these shorts, and then they're like the size of a piece of a Pez candy was the actual package. And it's like literally a match head. I mean, this was pure China white heroin. And the 3 little fucking packages are hanging right on the end of the short. And I'm like, and I take them and I'm shaking so bad. I'm like, and I throw them in the toilet and then I flush the toilet. I can barely hit it.
Why is he shaking?
So then I'm like, I still got to deal with this dude. So in the morning, the door's open. He comes to me. He's like, I want to squash it.
Yeah, you don't want none.
I apologize.
You don't want none of that.
Me up. Shake hands. I hugged him. I went to chow. And then maybe like, because at chow, everybody asked me what happened. And I kept telling him, Kit wanted me to, because then it's like, you know, he wanted me to come deliver it. And so then their unit was last to eat. So then I went back to the unit, and then within maybe by noon, they fucking yanked me out and threw me in the hole for investigation because they knew that I knew that he was a fucking rat. He had 15 years for a gun charge, and he was just trying to work his time off. So, like, that was a close call. Marion. So we get a little background on Marion. Lost my trial, sold LSD, went to prison for the new visitors. 23-hour lockdown. The other thing I looked up, I was a level 40 when I got sentenced. Timothy McVeigh, The Unabomber, it goes from 0 to 44. Now it's 43. So the Unabomber and Timothy McVeigh were level 44. I was a level 40. Now they took the 3 2-point enhancements off at sentencing, which brought me to a 34. But I mean, I started as a level 40. So the hypocrisy of it all, right? So in Marion,
This dude's a threat.
there's 2 tiers of rec. There's a top tier, bottom tier. So inside rec, the top tier will come out for 1 hour for the day. The bottom tier will come out for 1 hour. Then the next day it'll be outside rec and everybody goes. So I was out on inside rec talking to my friend. There's a guy in a cell next to him with a lot of time. And he just kind of went off at the mouth and stuck his arm out the bars. And he like pointed at me like that. And I just reacted because like what he said to me was basically disrespect, what meant I had to fight him. And I didn't think about it at the time. But then what I immediately did is I spit right in his face, a huge spit of face. But now he's on the other side of the bars. And then I just backed away from the bars. And so there's no turning back from that. And so that's going to get settled out on the yard. You might have to kill him. There's gun towers. Inside, they can't shoot you. They just rush in. You got to lay down. They beat you up. But outside, they will shoot. They might do warning shots, but they don't have to. So it doesn't sound so bad when I'm telling the story, but it was. And so then the next rec period before the next day was they came out. But he never came up to my cell. They kept him away. You know, it's probably like 30 to 7, the ratio. But there was a conflict. So it was us two that had to settle it out on the yard. And the thing is, if someone doesn't go out to outside rec, that's considered an act of weakness. So if I said if I refused rec, Bruce Pierce was in there, like they would have killed me or made me check into the hole, but he would have killed me because it was like, I'd started this, you had to finish it because it was, you know, I would be misrepresenting the whites in his eyes. But that's not why I didn't go out. You know, I'm not going to check into the hole because you're not necessarily going to be safe there either. So the next day, everybody's getting ready to go out to rec. Now, there were 3 guys that didn't go out from their side, and so they got into really big trouble. There still was an overwhelming number against us. And then the guards walk in. There's 1 to each cell, and they say, "Who wants rec?" You stick your arms through. They shackle you and handcuff you. Then all the other guards come. So there's 2 or 3 with each person that come out. So all the guards come up on the tier, and Blondie's there. And he's like, "Blazer's refusing rec. Blazer doesn't want rec." And I'm like, "Yes, I do." And then T, who is my neighbor, says, "Yeah, he does." And Blondie's like, I'm just kidding. Because they knew what the fuck was going on. So they take us all out to the yard one by one, unhandcuff us before Bruce tells me where it's all going to take place. You just got to be ready to battle. I mean, this is just pure fighting. There's no shanks. There's nothing. I didn't have anything. So I'm out on the yard, and like I start walking to the spot. It's the farthest place from the gun towers. It's like, and then all of a sudden.
Hey, if you made it this far, comment 5. This guy's a really good storyteller, bro.
Sudden, the one of the shot callers on their side signals Bruce. They come together, and they're like, he wants to squash it. So I'm like, because it was kind of on him. So I got really lucky there. And the guy was twice my size. He had another 25 years on his sentence. And he came up, shook my hand, apologized. I mean, we lived in that unit till I went home. And nothing happened. And then me and Richie just did our laps.
He spit in somebody's face and didn't even have to fight him for about it.
there's
Nah, that's
everybody's
crazy.
going to be thinking about if I go to prison, getting raped and all that. But the bottom line is like fighting for your life when there's a fight in prison. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's not, it's fucking for real, man. And it's usually to the death.
Sounds stressful.
You don't, the thing is, like if someone reaches over your food or they call you a fag or they call you a rat, but it's not always going to happen. There was one other thing that happened in Florence, which I don't think I ever told this. It almost led to a big fight, but
This guy's had a lot of close
I had worked
calls,
in like
man.
the cement shop or something for a couple months. And when the day was done of work, we were all walking back to the units, 800 guys. And there was a guy from another race, not black, was asking me about my case. And I said how I had 151 months. And
many
he said,
years was
wow, you
that?
got that for pleading guilty. And I
12
said,
months is a
motherfucker, I
year.
didn't plead guilty. I took it to trial. But I said it not like, fuck you, but just like, because when I'm comfortable with someone, I say that. And we knew each other working. Like, I just said it like that, right? But again, other
Right.
people overheard. It turned into this huge conflict where now I was
Wow.
going to be forced to fight this guy, right?
It
Because he
seems like
disrespected
this guy never even wants to fight people, bro. It's just like he can't look weak in jail.
me. And so, like, there was this sanctioned fight that was going to be out on the fucking yard after chow that night. And, like, all the units knew the same situation. And it's like, at chow, they brokered some backroom deal. At chow, one of the whites and the Spanish guys came up to me and apologized for the dude and said, we're squashing it. It's good. We apologize. No
Do the whites have that much power in this place? Nobody want to fight him?
disrespect. We didn't know you took it to trial. But then it's funny. The next day at work, we were there together working. He's like, God damn, man, that's some shit, ain't it? And we just like laughed about it because it's just like the politics of prison. It's insane.
Is fighting like the ultimate like entertainment and thing that everyone's life revolves around there?
Seems like it.
It's a big part of it, actually, because you know what? There was a fight at that same prison. There was an Indian guy and I think a white guy. And so there were what's that court where you hit
His
the
head
ball?
OD strong.
Is that handball?
Handball. Yeah.
The handball courts. And so the handball courts can
Oh
only,
my gosh.
this gets to the question of entertainment. The
Oh.
handball courts are, so the gun towers can't see him and there's a roving truck patrol. So that guy goes around, so maybe for like 15 seconds they can see it. So one of the guys had a big metal bar and one of the other guys had a shank. But that day on the yard, because it was known, there had to be 900,000 people to watch this fight. Like, in one guy, he got this bone got shattered. And then the other guy was struggling with the knife, and then the Indian and one of the white dudes, I think that they came and they stopped it. But like, everybody wanted to see it. So in a sense, it kind of was entertainment. But the other thing is, like, if that fight got found out, the whole prison would have been locked down probably for a week to 2 weeks. So you're getting
A
bologna
week?
sandwiches.
Oh my
You're not going out. You're
gosh.
getting maybe one shower every 2-3 days.
What?
So it's a form of entertainment, but it's not. The thing is, like in Marion, if a fight happened, one time this fight happened in the unit. And so what happens is in Marion, because you cannot be next to a guard, unshackled and handcuffed. So this fight happened, and my friend's like, get down on the ground. And these guys were just going at it. Two dudes, two big, huge black dudes, just brawling. And then all the guards come where they're not in the unit, but they're on the other side of the cage, and they tell everybody to lay down. And so you lay down, and then like 60, 70 come in, and they just stand
Whoa.
on you. And another guy's got like this on your head. All of them. They get all, and then the guys are still fighting. Then while you're headed down, of course, everybody's looking. They just jump on both dudes and just beat them to death almost right in front of you, because it's like you cannot be unhandcuffed and shackled in front of the guards. But it's interesting when I think back about it. I was still very naive even after marrying, I think. But you're right. There is a sickness to it that people would like to start
Facts.
the fight. Like, who knows? Like,
Yeah, it seems
Mario
like they are entertained by it in a weird way, and they don't even realize it.
probably thought I was soft. And then Gary just like prodded Johnny to do it. Like, he didn't know my room was probably getting searched for heroin, all this stuff. Like, it is a dark sense of entertainment. Like, isn't that what they did back in the days of Rome? But it's funny because I remember one time before I got sober, I went to this. I would get drunk every 7 to 10 days, and then I'd want to smoke cocaine. And I went to this house, and the one of the lady,
That's a
this was a real
crazy
crack house.
system
This
you
isn't
got.
one some like powder shop up north with some white people just snorting lines. I mean, this was blacks, whites, Cubans, Mexicans, pimps, scanners, guns. I mean, these were real crack
Real
houses.
deal.
And she's like, that's the motherfucker that tells the prison stories. And then by the end of it, like, I'm on a fucking milk crate and they're just fucking listening to me talk. And they're like, I don't know if this is true, but it's a great story. But it was like I had to get it out, So I don't lose sleep over it. But
Me, it's a great story,
today it's
bro.
like I don't like violence. I've watched fights on TV, but it just doesn't do it for me. I mean, I'm a peaceful, loving dude now. I mean, my Instagrams are about like lifting weights or cooking. Like, it's just
It's awesome, man.
I love you all, and I want to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. But if somebody could maybe see and listen and maybe get something from this, but can you imagine that in the county jail, the guy's co-defendant, and then he says, "Why didn't you fucking finish him?" Like, holy fuck, dude. And then he offers me $100,000 to testify on his behalf. So I wouldn't trade it for anything. But one other part, if I can add it in. There was a time that I lived probably the most peaceful time in my life. Route D, Bruce Valley Schoolhouse, built in 1926, Whitehall, Wisconsin, western side of Wisconsin. 14-mile bus ride to the school, never a fight. Probably the most peaceful time with my parents. It was 8 and 9 and 10. 8.5 or 9, I shot my first pheasant. 410 bolt action, tight choke, like just dating the farm girls. I'm like, what was I, 8 or 9 years old? And it was just like, that was a peaceful time in my life. And like my dad would always say, if someone messes with you, what to do. But like, I don't know. I just think violence is a bad thing, and fighting. And so I never was a fighter. But like today, I'll run. I will fucking run, And part of me, like, if I feel disrespected, I get, a little bit, but it's like I don't react. But even if somebody, like,
Bro turned his life
tries
around.
to take something from me, unless they have a gun, like, I'm out of there, man. Like, you're just not going to get me because it's one speed, like, right? Like, how do you know how bad somebody's going to get you if they want to take something from you or fight you? But
W story, man.
any other questions?
That's
No,
why we like
your
this
stories are
channel,
great.
man.
All right, Joel. Merry Christmas. Have a
Merry
great one.
Christmas.
Let's have
Thank
a
you.
good year next year.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Even though Soft White Underbelly consists of a lot of videos, it's really still a photography project.
Man. Make sure y'all boys like, comment, sub, do all that good stuff. Go enjoy some more videos, man. It's your boy P. I'm going 40-minute video.